Just to get the wording correct, in Exhibit File 2 on page 589, the sentence you want us to be included to your statement.
It's Exhibit File 2.
It's Exhibit File 2.
Yes.
On page 589.
Okay.
Page 589. In paragraph 3, the highlighted portion, is that the part that you want us to include in your statement to the Commission?
Yes, that's correct, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. and just to point out that the paragraph you just dealt with, paragraph 11, right through for the next 5 pages, you are now actually dealing with the actual, the incident of the 22nd of June, 2021.
That is correct.
And your paragraph 11 reflects how you were informed and then you became involved.
That is correct, Commissioners.
And you'll take that over to quite a number of paragraphs. Do you prefer to read into the record what you've set out therein, at least up to paragraph 32, or are you happy to just speak to that detail?
I wouldn't want to miss something out, so I'm quite a proficient reader. I'm going to try and read this as quick as I can.
Okay.
If you
let's try that then.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks.
Maybe before you do that, Kelner, at the end of paragraph 10, you say, before 22 June 21 operation, I had not conducted a larger seizure.
Yes.
You say that. And then when you were discussing paragraph 8, explaining SANEB, you said it is responsible or involved in all major drug operations.
That is correct.
What is defined as major drug operations?
Okay. To clarify, Commissioner, when I say I had not conducted a larger, let me see, that was...
That's at paragraph 10?
Paragraph
at the end
10,
of 10,
yes.
Yeah.
When I say I had not conducted a larger seizure, I'm talking about a container interdiction where drugs were seized from a container or from the port or from a depot. Yes.
So it's not so much the quantity?
And, not the quantity, it's the seizure, the type of seizure that we had done. I have done clan labs and the like, okay, but this was the largest seizure of cocaine per se that I had done.
Okay. And then back to my question about paragraph 8, where you were explaining SANEB as being responsible, I don't remember the exact word you used, but for major drug operations. And my question about it is, what is considered to be major drug operations?
Okay. When it comes to our mandate, we try to focus on what we call a criminal value chain and levels 3, 4, and 5. That meaning we're looking at your wholesalers, your financiers, your distributors, your international drug traffickers. So we try to focus on those involved in the drug industry that are quite prominent and those that would make an impact if we had to address them successfully.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. Kenan, we may proceed. Then we are then at your paragraph 12 at page 2.
12. On the said morning, I was fetched from my residence by warrant officers Pangase and Sibia, also of the Durban Serious Organized Crime Investigation Unit. The information was that there was a container in Isipingo with suspected cocaine inside. We met with Captain Duma in the Isipingo area. He informed us that there were alleged to be 27 pieces or units of cocaine in a container number BEAU 59555535, which was stored at the CHC container depot in Isipingo. We proceeded to the depot and spoke to the warehouse manager. Captain Duma had pre-arranged with the warehouse that the said container was to be inspected. The container in question was stacked high up and between other containers After moving containers around to accommodate the container in question, it was placed for inspection. We had acquired the shipping documentation, in brackets I've got SAD 500, packing list, etc., from the warehouse manager. When the container was placed, I noticed the original seal in place as per the documentation furnished. I immediately suspected this to be a rip-on, rip-off load. This is a modus operandi whereby the drugs are loaded at the port of origin in a legitimate container. In essence, these drugs piggyback on this legitimate cargo and are usually found in canvas bags placed at the entrance of the container. The purpose of this is to ensure easy retrieval once the container is opened. This usually occurs at the port with the assistance of port staff and possibly customs or police officials. The seal is cut, bags removed, and the container is resealed. Sometimes a duplicate seal is used when resealing the container, or a new seal is used. The consignee is none the wiser, as their commodity or goods are not affected. Investigations of this nature is difficult to link to a suspect. I am not aware of any arrests pertaining to a rip-on, rip-off case in KZN or within South Africa. In the absence of credible intelligence, arrests are non-existent. I can also state that from all the rip-on, rip-off matters that we have dealt with, we have not received any DNA or fingerprints results back from the LCRC. Warrant officers.
Sorry, what's the difference between a duplicate seal and a new seal?
Okay.
Because if what they use is no longer the seal that they broke,
Yes.
I would have considered whatever they now use to be a duplicate seal.
Okay. Just for clarification, Chair, you can get a duplicate seal that has the exact serial number of the original seal, or they could just put another seal that doesn't even have the same serial number, and the consignee is not that bothered because their commodity is still intact. When they get it, if they ordered, I'm just using an example, 50 bags of rice, and they've got 50 bags of rice there, it's not going to be that much of a red flag that they're going to complain, why is the seal not the same as our shipping documentation?
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Colonel, you may proceed.
Okay. Warrant Officer Sbia and I took photos as the container was placed for inspection. The original seal of the container, highlighting the seal number, as well as the cutting open of the seal. Upon opening the container, it was noted that there were numerous black canvas bags placed on top of 50-kilogram bags of animal feed. In brackets, I've got legitimate cargo as per the packing list. We kept the civilians at the warehouse at bay so as they could not interfere with the offloading or the container itself. Upon inspection of one of those bags, we noticed it to contain suspected 1-kilogram bricks of cocaine. They were wrapped in yellow wrapping with Jaguar written on it, and black and white wrapping with TikTok written on it. There were other border police, cargo operations, team unit, I think I've made a miss or a typo, right? It's cargo operations inspection team, uniform members at the depot that were inspecting other containers. I enlisted their assistance to offload these bags along with my members. We counted 27 such bags with warehouse staff. The container was locked with a new seal. We did not have adequate exhibit bags for this quantity of drugs. Upon offloading these bags, I noticed that the area that we were working in was congested. I looked at the area around the container and I realized that unpacking the bricks of cocaine would cover a surface area greater than the area available. I also noted that the depot was busy with machinery traversing our immediate vicinity. Umlazi is 11 kilometers away from the depot, which I saw as a risk, and we were working in an uncovered area of the depot.
Before you proceed to 20, you know that Umlazi is 11 kilometers from the depot,
Yes.
and you saw that as a risk. Why?
Umlazi is a volatile area. We know that we've got serious criminals, cash in transit robbers. We know we've got also major players in the drug industry that reside there. It's known for not being that much of a safe place, a high-risk area.
So, and it's the proximity of the depot to Umlazi that creates a risk.
That is correct. It
Thank
was
you.
11 kilometers away, Commissioner.
Please continue. Thank you.
These canvas bags were then loaded into a marked vehicle utilized by the border police members. My main priority was to safeguard these exhibits, valued at approximately 200 million. I knew that Isipingo would have exhibit bags, Isipingo SAP would have exhibit bags, and would also provide a more secure environment to work with these exhibits. The container was locked and available for us to further inspect at a later stage. I took the decision not to cordon off and close the depot. I did not want to prejudice the company by closing them down for the rest of the day, as they were not suspects in this matter. We had acquired photos of the chain of events leading up to the discovery of the drugs. I knew that the chain of custody of exhibits would be accounted up until these exhibits reached Isipingo SAP.
If I may just get clarity there. You say you took the decision not to cordon off and close the depot. Would I be correct to conclude that you took that decision as what the crime scene commander, as the
Yes,
most
sir.
senior person? Are you responsible for the scene? On what basis did you take that decision?
As the senior officer on the scene, Commissioner, any of these executive or decisions that are made with regards to a crime scene and the handling thereof would have fell squarely on my shoulders.
Okay. Thank you. You may continue.
Okay, was I paragraph 22? Okay. In a CIT scene, evidence uplifted from the crime scene, irrespective of where the crime scene is crucial. DNA, fingerprints, positioning of cartridge cases, trajectory of bullets, crime scene photos, etc., are all critical in proving your case. Here, crime scene management is paramount. Had the CHC depot been a crime scene that warranted cordoning off or retrieving evidence from it, I would have done so immediately. I, along with the two DPCI members, followed the marked police vehicle whose occupants were Sergeant Simkize and Governor from Border Police. We did not lose sight of them the entire way until reaching Isipingo SAP. I must add that Isipingo SAP is 4 kilometers away from the CHC depot. Upon arrival at the station, I called Brigadier Newswa to inform him of the seizure. The members started to offload the bags, and I went to call the SAP 13 clerk, Warrant Officer Perumal. He came to the parking area and viewed proceedings. When asked for exhibit bags, he indicated that they did not have any of the required size. I then realized that it was futile to call out LCRC when we did not have the required exhibit bags. My members had a few of the bags of the required specifications, but not enough for this magnitude. We proceeded with the count of bricks of cocaine with the border police members. Pangase was noting down the count as we progressed and assisting with counting also. Sibia and I took photos of this process. The number of 1 kilogram bricks amounted to 541. The border police members then left to attend to other duties. Pangase entered the exhibits into SAP 13, into the Isipingo SAP 13, and I booked them out. Isipingo SAP 13 373 2021 refers. Warrant Officer Perumal signed to confirm the same. I did not view the SAP 13 entry at the time. I can admit that column 3.1 was poorly completed, more especially since there were no exhibit bags. A more detailed description of the different colors, the branding, and number of said bricks should have been noted in column 3.1.
Colonel, how did you determine that it was 1 kg bricks? Did you weigh them, or is that based on your experience?
Commissioner, we did not weigh them based on my experience.
So for all we know, it could have been 800 grams.
You are correct.
It could have been 900 grams, but based on your experience and the look of it, you assume that it's 1 kg bricks.
That is correct, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Okay.
Colonel, before you go any further, just to perhaps point out to you that what is being made publicly available is a redacted version of your statement, so we don't call out case numbers and such details. So when you come across them in your original statement, please
Yeah.
try and skip that number.
Noted,
Thank you.
Commissioners. Yes. May I proceed?
Absolutely, you may.
Okay.
Thank you.
What I can say with certainty, paragraph 27. I stated in a previous statement in this matter that I knew Isipingo did not store exhibits and that we had problems with them previously. My members on the scene have since reminded me that Warrant Officer Perumal explicitly refused to keep the exhibits on the day and that I should have been aware of the same. I hope to explain the reason for this discrepancy/confusion in due course. What I can say with certainty is that Isipingo SAP would not store these exhibits. I called the FSL whilst at the station, not only to attend the scene, but to ask if they had storage space for the drugs. This would have alleviated the burden on us to find a place to store them, as they could attend to the analysis and eventual destruction of the same. They indicated that they did not have space. I knew that the two police stations that normally assisted with storage, namely Durban Central SAP and Brighton Beach SAP, still had exhibits from our drug seizures conducted in February 2020 and September 2020, respectively. I was inundated with calls from these stations requesting us to dispose of these exhibits. The exhibits stored at Brighton Beach SAP were amongst those seized in a drug operation in the Mshlali policing precinct in September 2020. The FSL attended that scene and took samples of a precursor chemical called anthranilic acid. The rest of these 50-kilogram bags were stored at Brighton Beach SAP. Paragraph 30. I then called Brigadier Newswa and told him that I had exhausted all avenues and that he should secure a storage location for the drugs. After a while, he called me back saying that he had discussed with General Senona and that the exhibits should be stored at Port Shepston Serious Organized Crime Unit. I did not know that Port Shepston Serious Organized Crime Investigation Unit had kept exhibits. He further arranged a team to conduct the armed escort to the exhibits to Port Shepston. I briefed Pangase on the instruction from the Brigadier. After a while, we were met by members of our National Priority Violent Crime Section, as well as the tracking team, comprising public order policing members. I handed the scene over to Warrant Officer Pangase, who was the investigating officer of the matter. I did not go to Port Shepston, and I was dropped off at my residence to resume my vacation leave. I did not give any further instructions to Pangase, as he was a seasoned detective in this environment. The following day, when I contacted Pangase and learned that exhibits were only being sealed in bags then, I reminded him that they should be entered into the SAP-13 immediately to ensure there were no queries raised. Another reason for sealing them in exhibit bags is due to the fact that the FSL requires exhibits for analysis to be sealed in bags. It would have been prudent to photograph the process of sealing the bricks in exhibit bags.
Before you move to the next paragraph, am I correct in my understanding of your paragraph 32 that after they were dropped off at Port Shepston offices, they spent the night not being in exhibit bags? Is that a correct understanding?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Can I also just follow up on that in that period, that overnight period, there was therefore no record of what exactly, and I'm speaking specifically about quantities and the content thereof. There was no record of what's there, what has been left at Port Shepston.
That is correct,
DPC.
Commissioner.
Thank you.
Please proceed, Colonel.
Since the FSL had no space for us to forward all of the exhibits, the next logical step to take was to forward samples to confirm indeed if what we had was cocaine. I called Colonel Kuzwayo, who is the head of chemistry at the FSL in Amanzimtoti, and sought guidance in this regard. I cannot recall exactly what her instructions were, but it involved taking samples from a few bricks and placing a minute amount of powder into a small exhibit bag meant to accommodate these samples. This would then be conveyed to the FSL for analysis. There is no training or specialized skill involved in doing this. The samples are merely forwarded to the FSL by the member for chemical analysis by an analyst at the chemistry section. This is accepted at the FSL in order to conduct chemical analysis. Pangase took these samples for forwarding to the FSL on my instruction on the 23rd of June 2021. He, however, only entered these exhibits into the Port Shepstone SAP 13 the following day, on the 24th of June 2021. I am not sure why this was done or this was not done the same day. Port Shepstone SAP 13, and I'm going to leave that out, something 2021 refers. Paragraph 35, on my return to work, I took over the investigation on the 29th of June 2021. Pangase had made it known that he was leaving the SAPS, hence all his dockets and inquiries were reallocated to others. On the 1st of July 2021, I proceeded to the CHC depot with Pangase and Sibia. I had arranged that the clearing agent, in brackets Mega Freight, send a representative to unpack the container, and we conducted a count of the 50-kilogram bags of animal feed. They amounted to 5,395 bags, which corresponded with the packing list. This further corroborated the rip-on, rip-off methodology. The container was then officially released to the clearing agent. On the same day, I emailed...
My apologies, before you leave that paragraph, you state at 35 that when you returned on the 29th of June, you took over the investigation, and that, is it Warrant Officer Mpangase? What's the rank up? I don't want to get it wrong.
Warrant Officer.
You just call them by name?
Yes,
Warrant
Mpangase.
Officer. Warrant Officer Mpangase had made it known that he was leaving SAPS.
Yes.
Are you able to recall when he had made that known and how?
Commissioners, I can't recall exactly when, but what I can say for certain is that the member had made it known, everybody in the office was aware that he was looking to leave, go on early retirement or exit the police months before or months prior to this incident.
Oh, so when you appointed him, or you determined that he was the investigating officer on the 22nd of June in this matter, you were aware that he was leaving the force?
Yes, I was.
And you appointed him
Yes, I did.
nonetheless?
Yes.
If I may ask why?
Okay. When you leave the police, it's not an overnight thing, normally. There's an exit interview, it's a few months' notice, that type of thing. Unless in exigent circumstances you do early resignation, you put in your documents, and the turnaround time's much faster. So I didn't see it as an issue because I would have thought he would have had a few months at least left before he exited the police, and I didn't see it being an issue with him carrying this investigation or investigating this matter. I was of the opinion that he would have finalized, or this investigation would have been concluded by the time he had left the police.
And then just to read you paragraph 35, you took over the investigation on the 29th of June, 2021.
Yes.
So he was an investigating officer for 1 week, technically.
Him, yes,
Him.
yes,
Okay,
Commissioner,
thank
that's
you.
correct.
Just understand, when you go back to the depot on 1 July 2021, what was the point of that? What was the real purpose of it?
Okay. On the day that, on the 22nd of June 2021, when we did remove these bags of suspected cocaine from this container, I merely did a physical inspection by looking through the container. I could see no anomalies. I could see those white bags of what seemed to be 50-kilogram bags of animal feed. Upon taking out these exhibits, we sealed this container. That's the closest thing to a crime scene that we do have. So it was sealed to keep the integrity intact. And obviously, when we didn't do a thorough search of it on the said day, due to the volume of bags, it was 5,395 50-kilogram bags. Hence, it was decided to come back at a later day where we arranged with Mega Freight, the clearing agent, to bring through laborers to assist in this regard.
But when you sealed it and left it there on the day,
Yes.
did you leave instructions with the depot manager that the container is to be left alone?
That is correct, Commissioner, I did.
Thank you.
And before you proceed, based on the response you gave to Commissioner Baloyi, at your paragraph 20, if you could flip back, the last sentence at your paragraph 20, you say the container was locked and available for us to further inspect at a later stage.
Yes, that's correct.
When you say it was locked here, should we read that to be it was locked and sealed?
Sealed, that's
Okay,
it.
thank you.
Yes. Okay.
You were now, I think, at your paragraph 33
Or is it not 36?
or 36, my apologies.
Okay.
On the same day I emailed, quite
Okay,
correct.
thank you. On the same day, I emailed all the relevant shipping documentation to the DPCI, South African Narcotics Bureau. It's supposed to be South African Narcotics Enforcement Bureau head, Brigadier Devon Naika. I am unsure of when, but CBI had handed me the sample that Pangase had obtained. Pangase was not at the office. I am unsure why Pangase had not taken these samples to the FSL sooner.
Colonel, I need you to clarify this so that we don't need to come back to it later.
Yes.
You've deposed to about 5 affidavits in relation to this matter, and you use the term sample and exhibits interchangeably.
Yes.
And we had a debate yesterday with the lawyers and warrant officer Setsedi. Let me see if I understand this, and if I'm getting it wrong, please clarify it for me. You take a sample, and FSL wants the samples to be put in an exhibit bag. Am I correct so far?
Yes, Commissioner.
When they go to FSL for analysis, they must be in an exhibit bag, correct?
Correct, Commissioner.
And because they are in an exhibit bag, whether or not they are samples, you still regard them as exhibits.
A smaller reflection, a smaller quantity, but a true reflection of what the exhibits in totality represent.
But
Yes.
it is still labeled an exhibit.
Yes, I did label it an exhibit, yes.
And that explains why some affidavits say sample, others say exhibit. But
That is-
essentially,
That's what
it
I'm
means.
speaking of, the samples.
And do you know what the quantity was of that sample that was taken to FSL?
I can't state because it was sealed in a bag, but maybe if I can elaborate,
Thank you.
Commissioner. Should I get into the why did I instruct, or should I just merely, how does it look?
We're not
Okay.
there yet. I
Okay,
just
no, it's
needed
fine.
to know, was it a kilogram?
No, it was
500
minute
grams?
quantities. Basically, it was minute quantities of powder that were taken from 5 different bricks of cocaine, suspected cocaine. They were placed in 5 little sample bags, and those 5 smaller sample bags were then sealed in a larger exhibit bag that encompassed these 5, or enclosed these 5 smaller exhibit bags that contained samples from 5 different bricks.
So in total, it was 5 exhibit bags.
5 exhibit bags
Small
contained
ones.
within one
And
larger
then there was
exhibit.
a large
That's
bag.
my understanding, sir. Yes.
Thank you.
Perhaps also for my own edification. So when you speak of samples here, you're talking about the minute quantity that you say is scraped off from few bricks in the bag.
Yes. In
So
fact,
it's not the brick itself, so to
It's not a brick itself.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Please continue.
Okay. Paragraph 37. On 5th July 2021, I took these samples to the FSL Amanzimtoti for analysis. It is only when an analysis report is received from the FSL can exhibits be destroyed, more especially for matters under investigation. In matters where investigations are finalized, exhibits may be destroyed or disposed of by the FSL without being analyzed. On the same day, I sent a request to our Priority Crime Management Center, in brackets PCMC, for profiling of the consignee, the transporter, and the clearing and forwarding agent. On 19 July 2021, I sent an email to Advocate Governor of the DPP's office with regards to assistance in this matter. Advocate Ram Kalawan was assigned to the matter. I discussed the matter with her, and she indicated that statements should not be obtained at this stage from any of the entities mentioned above. I was in contact with SARS Customs, and they indicated that the container in question was one of 10 that they had a detention notice on the 23rd of June 2021. They did not share any specific information on why they had flagged this container.
And before you move to the next paragraph, you say at paragraph 39 that Advocate Ram Kalawan advised that statements should not be obtained from any of the entities mentioned above. Which entities are this for precision?
Okay, you're seeking clarity there, Commissioner?
Yes, you say from
Okay.
the entities
Okay.
mentioned above.
Yes,
So I just want to know.
at that stage, according to her or the DPP's office, we should view them as suspects until we can, with certainty, say that they are not. So at that stage, she thought it was premature to obtain statements from these entities.
And there's, when you say from any of the entities mentioned above, are you talking about the transporter and clearing company and the forwarding agent? Are those the entities, or are there any other?
That is correct, Commissioner.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks, you may proceed.
Okay, paragraph 40.
Before you go to 40, at 39, you say I was in contact with customs, and they indicated the question was that in question, the container in question was one of 10 that they had a detention notice on for 23 June 2021. You don't say when did you make this contact. You just say I was in contact with SARS. When did you make this contact?
May I look at one of my files? Thank you,
Yes.
Commissioner.
Is it something that we have in the exhibit files that might help if you
Yes, it
describe?
would be in my investigation diary
Yes.
for the said inquiry, 28.
Okay, then we will have to go to the exhibit file.
You don't have to do that now. We can come back to it
Okay.
once they have assisted you to locate it.
Yes.
But a related question is, why are you in contact with SARS?
Why am I contacting them, Commissioner?
Yes.
Once I had learned, when I did look at the actual inquiry file, I noted that Warrant Officer Mpangase had filed a detention notice from SARS, from Customs. And I noted that the container of interest, the one that we had searched, was listed amongst the 10 that were cited on this detention notice.
So from the file,
That's
that there
correct.
was a detention notice.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Please proceed.
Okay, paragraph 40. Between late July 2021 and August 2021, I had prepared a PowerPoint presentation on the seizure of cocaine. I'm just going to elaborate, I haven't written it here. On the seizure of cocaine on the 22nd of July 2021, or June 2021, as per General Sanona's instruction. I cannot recall when I had sent it to him. During the course of this investigation, I had obtained and filed 7 statements, together with all relevant shipping documents, email correspondence with the DPP's office, photos of the container and exhibits, as well as numerous other customs and Transnet documents.
Before you leave that paragraph, you say you did this PowerPoint presentation at the instruction of General Sinona. Are you able to recall what specifically the instruction was and what the presentation had to cover?
My memory was jogged, Commissioners, when I looked through the actual inquiry file.
Yes.
I can't recall, since it was a long while back, but I did make a diary entry that the provincial head had requested a presentation on the said seizure, a PowerPoint presentation. And I noted that even on a weekend, I made an entry in my diary that I was working on this PowerPoint presentation. And in my investigation diary pertaining to the said investigation, I don't cite a specific date, but it's between, I would say, July and August 2021 that I had prepared and sent this presentation to General Sonona.
Okay. Now, you haven't availed that actual PowerPoint presentation. Do you still have it? Are you able to make it available to us?
I can check, Commissioners, offhand. I can't say that I have knowledge of where it may be, but I can search or try and find it somewhere.
Would appreciate that. Thank you. You may then move on to your paragraph 41.
Since investigations were amounting to nothing, my only option was to expedite the analysis of the samples forwarded to the FSL. It is only when an analysis report is furnished can the inquiry be finalized and filed as undetected or negative. In some cases, drugs are destroyed or disposed of without an analysis report. During the next few months, I kept in touch with the FSL in Manzimtoti and made calls to the FSL Pretoria in respect of these exhibits. I also made inquiries into the exhibits booked out of Isipingo on the 6th of February 2020. Both laboratories were unable to accommodate these exhibits for either analysis or disposal. Most of our communication with the FSL is telephonic. Sometime in October...
Apologies, Colonel. In the body of your statement, you do indicate who at FSL Amazimdoti you engaged with.
Yes.
And the commissioners had testimony of 3 of these persons yesterday.
Yes.
At your 42, you said you also made calls to FSL Pretoria in respect of these exhibits, but nowhere in your statement do you indicate who you spoke to.
Yes.
Are you able to
Yes.
inform us who those were?
Yes, Commissioner. It would have been a Colonel Shole from FSL Pretoria.
And what position does he hold and why?
I'm not
talk to
sure of
him?
his exact title, but in essence, whenever we have liaisons with the Pretoria FSL, he's our go-to man. He's always assisting and the one trying to accommodate us. So it's
Okay.
Colonel Shole. I'm not sure of his exact designation there.
Is that just the one? Just Colonel
Yes,
Shole?
it's only Colonel Shole. Yes.
And just in very brief summary, what was the content of your conversation about these exhibits? Why were you calling him?
Yes. You know, I can't recall every, commissioners, I can't recall every conversation verbatim. But what I can say is that when I did engage with him, I inquired about these exhibits kept in Port Shepstone, as well as the exhibits that were initially kept at Isipingo and now stored at Durban Central, because both of them were, more especially the ones at Durban Central, were causing me a lot of botheration. I've been getting calls, inundated with calls about them, hence my calls to FSL Pretoria.
Okay, now we know that you indicate that as at the 22nd of June, the day of the seizure, FSL Amazimdoti did not have capacity to accommodate them, right?
That is correct.
So you say during the next few months, you kept in touch with FSL Pretoria. Do you recall when it is you started your engagement with FSL Pretoria? Working from the date of the 22nd of June, when you knew that Amazimdoti cannot accommodate?
Yes, I can't recall, commissioners, but what I can say, it would have been at least maybe a month or 3 weeks to a month from the date of seizure.
And if I may ask, why did you wait that long?
Because I was already aware of, we were trying for those exhibits that were laying at Durban Central for already a long time, those that were seized in Isipingo on the 5th of February 2020. So I was aware that even Warrant Officer Sanders was making inquiries in that regard with Colonel Shole at Pretoria. So hence it took me a longer while, because in my mind I knew obviously they would try to accommodate those exhibits laying at Durban Central first before they could accommodate these that were now seized in June 2021.
Okay, thank you. Please proceed then from your paragraph 43.
Sometime in October 2021, I was contacted by Brigadier Newswa informing me that there was an attempted break-in at the Port Shepstone office and that I should look into expediting investigations and the analysis of exhibits so that exhibits could be disposed of. I had already been trying to get these and other exhibits accommodated at both labs unsuccessfully. I was only able to escalate my challenges to individuals within the FSL that were up to the rank of colonel. On 27th October 2021, I was at the FSL and spoke to Warrant Officer Sechedi. He is an analyst that normally attends our scenes and has the FSL standby cellular phone. I asked him about expediting the samples we had sent for analysis so that we could receive our analysis report. This would, in essence, mean that at least they could be destroyed, since the formality of the analysis report would have been addressed. He explained that they required 7 to 10 bricks of cocaine to weigh so that the analysis report could reference the average weight for the total exhibits. If Colonel Kuzwayo had explained this to me when I had asked her about, asked her about sending through samples, I would have asked the members to do it then. And in brackets, I've got either the 22nd or the 23rd of June. I'm unsure when that call was made. Right?
Noted.
Is this now, Colonel, the difference between the qualitative analysis and the quantitative analysis?
That is correct.
So the quantitative would relate to the average weight of the exhibits.
And qualitative,
And the qualitative would be
the actual analysis.
the quality of the substance and the grade.
That is correct, Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. You may proceed.
On the 4th of November 2021, I called Advocate Ram Kalawan inquiring about the status of the matter. She indicated that her supervisor, Advocate Govender, was to sign off on further investigations/queries and get back to me. I undertook this exercise to expedite investigations and dispose of exhibits as soon as possible.
And before you move on to paragraph 47, you say you called Advocate Ram Kalawan to inquire about the status of this matter.
Yes.
What matter is it at this stage?
The investigation, the inquiry that we were looking at, the actual seizure of this cocaine.
And who was responsible for that inquiry at this stage? At this stage, who was responsible for the inquiry?
I was the investigating officer. Advocate Ram Kalawan was a prosecutor assigned to the DPP's office.
And I'm trying to understand from your statement, you are inquiring from the prosecutor about the status of this matter.
Yes.
Is it the prosecution?
When I say status, Commissioners, I'm speaking of when you send any investigation, be it a docket or an inquiry to the DPP's office, they normally send you back queries, taskings, further statements to take. They basically guide your investigation in terms of if it were to be prepared for court for a prosecution. So that's what I mean by that.
So I shouldn't understand you to mean when you say you inquired from the advocate, the prosecutor,
Yes.
about the status of this matter, that you're inquiring about the status of the investigation of this.
Yes,
I
yes.
shouldn't understand that. But that you were seeking guidance to assist to proceed the matter or to move the matter forward.
Basically, I was looking to see what else do you want me to do. I have,
Okay.
yes, basically, that's it in a nutshell, Commissioner.
Thank you. You may then move to.
Can
Yes.
I just, maybe just to clarify, my understanding from from the evidence of a previous witness is that, there would have been an inquiry in a case like this because you don't have a suspect. The impression I got from that evidence was that is a wholly SAPS function, in this case, your function. So where does Advocate Ramakalan or DPP, whatever official at the DPP, where do they come in if this is a SAPS inquiry?
Okay. There is a directive issued at our office that every cocaine seizure needs to go to the DPP's office for guidance. It's now our standard operating procedure.
Was it applicable at the time?
Yes, it was.
Of this operation?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
And then if I may just follow up on that, would you have the name of that SOP off the top of your head? And are you
No.
able to provide, if I may finish, are you able to provide the commission with a copy thereof?
Okay, sorry, maybe I used the wrong. When I say SOP, it was an informal SOP. It's a directive issued from provincial management, and if I'm not mistaken, every unit within KZN, Hawks unit, would comply with that directive. So I can't tell you that I've seen it in writing, but it's an instruction coming from our provincial office. Okay, Mayor.
Apologies.
Okay, and also from, like I'll give you an example, Commissioners. The latest, we had 32 kilos or 33 kilos that were seized at our harbor. And once again, my unit was investigating the matter. I think on day 2 of this, we got a call from the DPP's office to ask, where is this inquiry? We need copies. We need to give guidance. So it was understood by both parties, not just the DPCI. The DPP's office were also informed that any of these matters that are generated needs to come to them for guidance.
And would I be wrong to assume that this directive is in writing? It's not in writing.
I'm unsure. I received an instruction from Brigadier Newswa regarding the same.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Okay, which paragraph was I?
You had just done 46.
Sorry, can I
Yes,
just carry on, just to try and clarify again? So, what do you refer to the DPP? And because my understanding, and you know better than I do how things work, my understanding is it the docket ordinarily? A docket is what the DPP would make notes in with instructions, what to do. So in a case such as this, where it's an inquiry, what do you submit in this particular case to the DPP, where the DPP gives you instructions?
Okay. It's either you can submit the physical inquiry. The physical inquiry, Commissioners, it works on the same principle as a docket. It's only that this inquiry is not yet at a stage where you can charge a suspect. An inquiry is just for purposes of you using resources, sending exhibits to the lab, but in essence, it has the same, you compile it in a similar fashion as you would a docket. There's an A clip with your evidence, your statements, anything of evidential value. There's your B clip, where all of your correspondence is filed, and there's a C clip, which is your investigation diary, where everything you do on that investigation, you note down in this investigation diary, which is contemporaneous notes. So copies of that, or either the original inquiry, would be handed to them. They would peruse it. Normally, prosecutors make entries in the investigation diary of their taskings to you. The DPP's office, for whatever reason, our DPP's office did not do that regularly. However, they used to, in some occasions, send us an action log or some sort of communication as to what is the way forward in terms of this investigation.
Okay. So if there is an investigation file or an inquiry file,
Yes.
For this operation, we would expect to see notes that indicate this exchange or interaction with the DPP
That would
and the
be
instructions that you say the DPP gave.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. You may proceed, Colonel.
Okay. By 47. 47. On
Yes,
the same
you should
day,
be 47.
I called the acting unit commander at Port Shepstone, Lieutenant Colonel Prinsloo, and indicated that I wished to come through with Warrant Officer Setshedi of the FSL, who would take 7 to 10 bricks to the FSL for weighing. He indicated that he was going on a wildlife workshop from the 8th to the 12th of November 2021. I told him I would come through when he returned. I received no feedback from Pretoria FSL and was aware that Warrant Officer Sando of my office was also making inquiries to the FSL with regards to the exhibits seized at CHC Depot on the 5th of February 2020. On 8 November 2021, I was called by Brigadier Newswa, who informed me of the theft of drugs incident at Port Shepstone. I was unaware of any of the security issues at the building prior to this. I proceeded with Captain Majola to the scene. General Senona and Brigadier Newswa arrived a short while later. LCRC was in attendance, and Captain Majola and I canvassed the area for CCTV footage. I must add that I bore no knowledge, neither am I involved in the theft of drugs. I was questioned and polygraphed with regards to this incident. I passed the polygraph test, but I understand now it doesn't carry much weight, Commissioners, but in response to the allegation
I'm sorry, it may be of interest to you to know that there were all sorts of problems with the polygraph test.
I've been following.
And some people who supposedly failed the test, in fact, didn't, basically because a lot of things went wrong. So what would your comment be if I say passing the test may not necessarily be proof that you actually passed it? What would your comment be?
I'm aware, Chair, that this is not admissible in court, but generally it's an...
That's not my question.
Okay, yes,
My question is about you stating the fact that you passed the test. So I want you to comment.
Okay.
Regard being had to the fact that yesterday we got to know that a lot went wrong with the polygraph test.
That as it may, I did pass. I felt vindicated. I felt a good sense of relief. So
how we can't take that away from you. That is how you felt when that is how we can't take that. What we make of that is something else altogether. Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
Please proceed.
Paragraph 50. In response to the allegation that Warrant Officer Perumal did not object to storing the exhibits seized on 22nd June 2021, I wish to add that I have submitted further statements to General Flynn's team over the years. I had expressly stated that we had an issue with storage at Isipingo SAP, more especially Warrant Officer Perumal. A statement was obtained by General Flynn's team from Warrant Officer Perumal in respect of availability of storage space and exhibit bags, in brackets I've got on 22nd June 2021. I'm speaking of that incident. A statement was obtained by General Flynn's team from Warrant Officer Perumal in respect of availability of storage space and exhibit bags subsequent to the theft of drugs on 8 November 2021. At no stage was he canvassed regarding the previous problems I had cited with the Isipingo SAP. One would have expected this issue to have been canvassed with him. The previous seizure at the CHC depot on 5th February 2020 involved approximately, I've got it wrong, it's 547, but I put 570, my apologies, right? Involved approximately 570 kilograms of Mandrax tablets and powder. I cite the inquiry number. According to evidence tendered, Isipingo has never had a problem with storing exhibits before. So I allude to...
Do you consider that, I hope it won't sound like I'm probing at this stage.
Clarification, I'll take it.
Do you consider that to be a useful comparator if you are talking about Mandrax as opposed to cocaine?
I know where you're headed, Chair, and I understand that, yes, in terms of...
At this stage, I will not go to where I'm headed.
But I do appreciate it, but I'm referring to storage space at this stage, storage space for a physical bulk of exhibits, not the hazardous nature.
Thank you. We'll deal with where I'm going later.
Yes, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Please continue.
Okay. Was I at paragraph 52?
Yes, you were,
Okay.
and you had just, about third line, you had just stated Isipingo had never had a problem
Okay,
with storing
Isipingo had
exhibits.
never had a problem with storing exhibits. See attached affidavit of the IO of Durban Central CAS. I cite the CAS, annexure GYJ1, and it's my colleague, Warrant Officer Sanders' affidavit. And I state, this may have been the reason for my confusion regarding my interaction with Warrant Officer Perumal on the 22nd of June, 2021.
And based on the Chair's reminder, I'm quite mindful that I don't start interrogation, I needed clarification, however. You state, according to the evidence tendered, Isipingo has never had a problem with storing exhibits. That's your main point there, right?
That's correct.
At the conclusion of that paragraph, you state, this may have been the reason for my confusion regarding my interaction. Is there something missing there? I don't understand the interrelation between the 2 points.
All right. I see where the confusion comes from, Commissioners. On the 22nd of June 2021,
Yes.
when I was later interviewed, or even when I made my statement, all I knew in my mind, and bear with me, I know it may sound as though I'm maybe lying. That's why I'm confused. But this is it. On the 22nd of June 2021, when engaging with Warrant Officer Perumal, all I know that was exhibits, neither did he have exhibit bags. And I see in my statements, numerous statements that I had furnished the investigation team, General Flynn's team. I'm not quite clear on that, and then I say that, I didn't explicitly ask him, but I know they've had a problem. Then I go on a further statement elaborating on even while we were processing or counting these drugs and busy in the parking area at Isipingo, Warrant Officer Perumal even remarked of, hey, the last time what happened with our guys here, we got sick. So all of that was in my mind, and I knew for a fact that Isipingo would not keep these exhibits, whether it was explicitly told to me or whether I had drawn that inference from my previous experience with the station, I can't say, but what I can say for certain is that my colleagues on the scene have since sternly reprimanded me by saying, Colonel, Warrant Officer Perumal did not want to keep those exhibits. So why I wrote that I did not explicitly ask him for permission to store it, I'm unsure why. But this may be the reason, and that's my truth. Okay.
Please, Chair.
Sitting here, I'm confused as to what you did say or did not say. As you sit there now,
Yes.
did you or did you not engage Officer Perumal on the availability of storage?
Yes.
Did you or did you not?
Yes. I can't recall offhand that I did ask him. And like I'm saying, that's my only answer, is that I knew they were not storing it. My colleagues reminded me that I was wrong. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And then, just in fairness to you, what do you say was the confusion? What do you say is the confusion? Because you say the reason for my confusion, so just for you to be clear on that?
Yes, I'm saying that I think I mixed up our previous incident in February 2020, between the 5th and 6th of February 2020, and that whole debacle there. Because although my colleague, Warrant Officer Sander, I don't think he mentioned it in his evidence, I am the one that secured Durban Central SAP with regards to storing those exhibits that Isipingo had turned away. So, that could be a reason for my confusion. I can't elaborate further, but that's it.
Okay. We might get back to this because I don't quite understand. If you say Isipingo has never had a problem with storing exhibits.
No, I'm not saying that, Commissioner.
That's what you say according to the evidence tendered. Do you
According
accept
to
that?
the evidence tendered by General Flynn, my apologies, Commissioner.
So you do not agree with the evidence
I do not.
tendered?
I strongly disagree.
Now I understand what you mean. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
There's a difference, though, between the availability of storage space and an unwillingness to store. There's a difference between the two. On your understanding, even though you are not sure whether you specifically asked Officer Perumal anything, but on your understanding, because you do say that you had some understanding, so on your understanding, what was the position?
Okay.
Was it an unwillingness to store, or was it a question of the unavailability of storage space?
Okay. Chair, this is my opinion. They have a storage place that could have accommodated it, over half a ton. Okay. But if I can just elaborate a little more, if you allow me, Chair.
Yes.
Even if you look at Warrant Officer Sanders' affidavit that I attached as an annexure, he states that Warrant Officer Perumal had made a comment that they do not have members to guard these drugs, So to me, it's not only a problem of storage space, it's also logistical in terms of manpower and the risk associated with those drugs. Thank you, Chair.
So you're basically saying the storage space was available?
I would have thought so. I'm not sure at that point in time what the exhibit safe looked like, but I would think in a normal course of duty they would have had that space.
Thank you.
And if I then, just to close off this point, in response to the chair's question, you reference what Warrant Officer Sanders said
Yes,
about concerns, is it Warrant Officer Perumal had, which
Yes.
is that not having manpower to guard.
yes,
That was in 2020.
yes, correct.
What was the issue in regard to this particular seizure by Warrant Officer Perumal? What did he express to you? We are now into June 2021. You say
Yes.
you understand there was space.
Yes.
So from your recollection, what was the reason for the rejection?
I can't give you a specific reason, Commissioner.
So it's not the fact that he doesn't have manpower to guard it?
No, he didn't cite it on this occasion.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you. Then I think that will take us to paragraph 50.
Please do that. And it's not a factor, the lack of manpower, it's not a factor that you would have taken into account?
No, I did not at that stage,
Thank you.
Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Balu. You may proceed.
Okay, paragraph 54. Okay, 53, am I at 53?
Yes, we are now at 53.
Okay, thank you, Chair. These exhibits had to be stored, and I'm speaking about the Isipingo 2020 February Mandrax exhibits. These exhibits had to be stored at Durban Central, SAP, from the 6th of February 2020 until the 12th of November 2021, when they were taken to the FSL Pretoria for destruction. If there was indeed no problems with storing exhibits at Isipingo SAP, then the IO would have taken them back to Isipingo upon being turned away from the FSL and Manzimtoti on the 6th of February 2020. See copy of Isipingo SAP 13 as per Annexure GYJ2. So that's there. To further substantiate my claims, I attach a copy of Isipingo SAP occurrence book 386 to 387. And I won't read the rest out. As per Annexure GYJ3, see headings, consultation and injury on duty, respectively. Entry 387 is made by the very same Warrant Officer Perumal, and it pertains to a member getting sick due to the drugs stored there. Surely this speaks to the credibility of Warrant Officer Perumal.
And before you move off this, am I reading your statement correctly that the drugs you referenced at 53 are the Mandrax tablets, the 547 kilogram of Mandrax tablets?
That is correct,
Mrs.
Commissioner.
Okay, thank you.
The evidence led states that I should have inquired with Durban Central SAP, and when I say the evidence led, I mean by General Flynn. The evidence led states that I should have inquired with Durban Central SAP and Brighton Beach SAP, Maiden Wharf, and some other station to store the 22nd June 2021 exhibits. At that stage, Durban Central still had the exhibits booked out of Isipingo SAP on the 6th February 2020. See copy of itinerary to travel from Durban to Pretoria for disposal of said exhibits as per GYJ4.
Before you move to the next paragraph, just to understand your 54, you say Durban Central still had the exhibits booked out of Isipingo in February 2020.
That's correct, Commissioner.
What does that mean? Does it mean, therefore, Durban Central did not have capacity? Is that your conclusion?
That is my conclusion.
And you know that for a fact?
I'm
Or
based,
you knew it
no,
for a fact at the time?
I knew that the drugs were stored there. I knew that they were.
No, I'm talking about capacity. I just want to be
no,
clear what
I
you're
wasn't
talking.
sure of their total capacity.
Okay,
I
thank
can't
you.
comment.
You may proceed.
Brighton Beach SAP still has exhibits from a September 2020 drug seizure in the Umhlali area. They allowed us to store exhibits via Durban Central Organized Crime. I won't mention the entire numbers. Being a smaller station, Umhlali SAP stored some of the exhibits in this matter. We tried all other stations to assist and were ultimately assisted by a rural station, Glendale SAP, where we stored less valuable exhibits. Brighton Beach SAP was the only other station to assist storing some of these exhibits after we had exhausted police stations closer to the Umhlali area. Brighton Beach SAP is 70 kilometers away from Umhlali SAP. To date, these exhibits are stored at Brighton Beach SAP in an unused cell. There is a prospect of an arrest, hence these exhibits have not been destroyed. See attached annexure, GYJ5, photos of exhibits at Brighton Beach, SAP. I recall that Sechedi was the same analyst that had acquired samples of this precursor chemical stored at Brighton Beach. He had conducted this exercise with an IO from my office.
And before you move on, similarly with Brighton Beach,
Yes.
are you suggesting at paragraphs 55 and 56 that the conclusion you drew at the time is, therefore, Brighton Beach SAP does not have capacity?
That's my conclusion.
At the time?
Yes.
Okay. If I may just ask a follow-up, do you know what their capacity was at the time?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you.
These above-mentioned police stations would continuously call inquiring about removing these exhibits. I did not exhaust every police station in the vicinity, as I knew how difficult it is to get assistance in this regard. I certainly knew that I could not request Brighton Beach SAP or Durban Central SAP for further assistance. I knew the difficulty in securing a police station to store exhibits, especially in light of the challenges at the FSL. It was suggested that taking samples is unheard of. I did call the head of chemistry, Colonel Kuzwayo, and inquire in this regard. I have since spoken to Lieutenant Colonel Songa and Warrant Officer Sechedi of the FSL. It became apparent that the investigation team had obtained statements in respect of my interactions with them. Warrant Officer Sechedi admitted to being intimidated by those members that acquired his statement. He indicated that he was first accused of stealing the drugs before the interview began. In no uncertain terms, he made it known that his statement was made under duress. I inquired from him regarding our discussion on the 27th October 2021, when he agreed to assist with the obtaining of 7 to 10 bricks of cocaine for weighing purposes. He was reluctant to even confirm this conversation with me. During this meeting, he fetched his statement that he had furnished to General Flynn's team in order to refresh his memory. When reading it out, I noticed that he had stated that on 27th October 2021, that I had told him that people were planning to break into Port Shepstone office to steal the drugs, when in fact I had told him that Brigadier Newswa had informed me that there was an attempted break-in at the Port Shepstone office. The intimidation of witnesses shows clear biasness from the investigation team investigating the theft of drugs. I believe that in the absence of any evidence pertaining to the actual theft of drugs, a false narrative of what transpired was created. The investigation seems to have been directed towards this false narrative. The exhibit seized at the CHC depot in February 2020 lay in storage at Durban Central SAP for over a year without the IO being accused of never intending to submit it to the FSL.
Before you move to paragraph 61, you may probably have omitted certain issues. At paragraph 58, you see at page 11, you state that it was suggested that taking samples is unheard of.
Yes.
The taking of samples.
Yes.
I did call the head of chemistry, Colonel Kuzwayo, and inquire in this regard.
Yes.
Thereafter, you then, at paragraphs 59 and 60, you speak about the events of the 27th of October 2021 regarding the 7 to 10 bricks that were required.
Yes.
But you no longer address yourself to the issue of samples. Did
Yes.
you discuss the matter of samples with Colonel Kuzwayo? You said you inquired from her in this regard.
Yes.
And if so, maybe this is an opportunity to state what advice you were given at the time by Colonel Kuzwayo.
Yes. Thank you, Commissioners. It would have been, from my recollection, on the morning, most probably, of the 23rd of June, whilst I was still on leave, right? I know I called Colonel Kuzwayo to ask advice, seeing as how I knew that the lab was not accepting this. I just tried to get the ball rolling with regards to an analysis report. I did call her. She advised me how to take samples. And from my recollection, it was a long time ago, but the way I recall it, I called Warrant Officer Mpangase directly afterward and advised him on exactly what Colonel Kuzwayo had said. And on my instruction, that's how he went about to obtain those samples in the manner in which Colonel Kuzwayo had guided me to do so. So
Yes.
maybe if I elaborate, will there be a time later? I just want to add a little bit regarding that.
With the chair's leave, I guess you may lest we forget, come back to the point. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair. I did try to obtain my cell phone records from 2021 for the period of interest for the Commission. I have it on official record. Vodacom does not have these records since they're older than 3 years. But I would like to say that the onus should not be on me. I am stating, from the very beginning, I have stated that I had called Colonel Kuzwayo. And even if you look at the duration of the call, it would give you an indication as to the nature of our conversation. So I was hoping that General Flynn's team would have provided my itemized billing. It would have been either on the 22nd of June or on the morning of the 23rd of June that I would have called Colonel Kuzwayo and shortly thereafter called Warrant Officer Pangase, guiding him as per the guidance of Colonel Kuzwayo. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Ms. Sillo, I assume we should be able to lay our hands on this or not?
We will have to make a request and call for the records.
Thank you.
Thank you. So then to conclude my clarification on this, when you say at 58, I did call the head of chemistry to inquire about in this regard, you're talking about the events of the 23rd of June? Or thereabouts, just immediately after the seizure? Okay.
Yes.
And that doesn't have anything in particular to do with the subsequent events of the 27th, which you deal with at paragraph 59 and 60? I should confuse the two. Okay. I'm happy, thank you.
No, okay. On the 27th, it was just a follow-up. It was a follow-up because in my mind, Colonel Kuzwayo had guided me on how to take samples, which I guided Warrant Officer Pangase to do. I submitted those samples because when I came back from work, I had seen that Pangase had not submitted them. Hence, I submitted them on the 5th of July. And my conversation on the 27th of October with Warrant Officer Sechedi was with regards to either finalizing analysis report, either disposing, but getting rid of those drugs in Port Shepstone. It's then that he made me aware. I would not know this scientific procedure. I worked at ballistics, not at chemistry. I would not know this procedure, but Warrant Officer Sechedi is the one who guided me on how this would be done. And maybe at a later stage, we look at my contemporaneous notes in my investigation diary that were written at that point in time. So I maintain that my conversation on the 27th with Warrant Officer Sechedi, he did advise me on what we needed further in order to get a quantitative analysis, because we had only submitted samples that would look at the qualitative aspect of it. Thank you.
Do I understand you to say that, as a matter of fact, you did make diary entries on the docket?
In the inquiry file.
About your conversation with Warrant Officer Sitsedi?
Yes.
Are you saying so?
Contemporaneous.
Contemporary, yeah,
That's
which
correct.
is contemporaneous.
Yes. And Chair, may I just add something? The evidence leader was not aware of this. When engaging with the evidence leader prior to coming here, when I mentioned all that I had done on this investigation, I see the evidence leader was taken by surprise. And to me, I don't think it's fair that General Flynn's team had supplied half an inquiry to the evidence leader. Obviously, one would be interested in my investigation as to exactly what steps did I take, what did I do. Those are contemporaneous. So I just thought
And was there a similar entry with regard to your communication with Colonel Kuzwayo?
No, there was not, Chair. May I clarify maybe why?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
because at that stage, remember, I left Isipingo SAP and went home to resume my leave. At that stage, Warrant Officer Pangase was physically in possession of that inquiry. I neglected to do so even when I came back.
But did you not make the note about your communication with Warrant Officer Sitsedi after you had come back.
With Sechedi on the 27th, yes, I had done it.
So that's after you had come back.
Yes, that was.
From
on
leave,
20
from
yes,
leave, that is.
correct.
So I'm not sure that your explanation fully gives us a picture. Why would you not have done something similar about or saying Colonel Kuzayo? Back at work and you are doing all this is at a time when you are back at work, so why not a similar entry? I hope
yes.
I'm not sounding like
No,
I'm probing
hear you,
at this
Chair,
stage.
and I accept it.
At this stage, I just want clarity.
This investigation diary works chronologically.
Yes,
Meaning
yes.
it goes day by day, you write the time, the date. So I had done it, I would think, on the 23rd of June. When I got back on the 29th of June, Warrant Officer Pangase had already diarized and written what he had done. So, yes, it's partially neglect on my part, but
Do I misunderstand the facts? I thought you communicated with Warrant Officer Sitsedi after you had spoken to Colonel Kuzwayo to inquire about what needed to be done, or not?
No,
All
I
right,
just
all
inquired
right.
from Colonel Kuzwayo during that period, Chair.
Which happened first?
The Colonel Kuzwayo, the samples, the guidance on how to obtain samples came from Colonel Kuzwayo.
And then you spoke to Warrant Officer Sitsedi afterwards?
Afterward, yes, that's correct. Much
still-
afterward, on the 27th of October.
I still don't understand then why you would not have made an entry that related to Colonel Kuzwayo.
Okay, like I said, Chair, if I was in possession of that inquiry and still at the office, I went on leave, if I was still at the office and I called Colonel Kuzwayo, I would have had that inquiry in front of me. I would have diarized to date, time, the nature of my conversation with her as well.
One last question. Were you not back from leave when you contacted Colonel Kuzwayo?
No, I contacted her during the 23rd, on the 23rd of June, if my memory serves me correct. I was back at work on the 29th of June.
All right.
Thank you, Chair. And
Before we break for tea, I just wanted to clarify 58, because that's where you were the first sentence, because this has caused a lot of confusion even with Warrant Officer Setsedi yesterday. Yeah, okay. I think we will,
You'll
Chair
do it.
will indicate.
Let's adjourn and resume at 11.
Thank you, Chair.